Welcome to a special edition of the Glorious Wrestling Podcast. SmackDown's next pay-per-view, No Mercy, is around the corner. It takes place Monday morning for us Australians, and we're going to be breaking down the full card with predictions. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter at GloriousWP. My name's Nick Negropontis, and I'm joined, as always, by Dem Panopoulos.
What? Don't which one? Anyway, it's time to face the facts and get ready for a Kurt Hawkins debut.
Yeah, I guess. So there's also a lot of other things on the card that I will be probably...
Kurt Hawkins debut.
The rest of the card will be much better than Kurt Hawkins. I think what we're going to try and do here is make this as easy as possible for casual fans and people who might just be tuning into the pay-per-view to digest. This is the second SmackDown exclusive pay-per-view. It's following on nicely from Backlash. And we'll start off with your boy, Kurt Hawkins. How do you think that's going down?
He'll win. It doesn't matter who he's against, he'll win. It doesn't make sense for him to debut and lose.
Jobber match?
Yes, local talent, where Kurt Hawkins is he'll get booed. He'll either get no reaction or booed. No reaction is worse
No
than
reaction.
bad reaction.
No reaction is my...
So there's a big chance of that. Apparently he was at a live event. He wrestled for the first time against Apollo Crews, and absolute crickets for him. So,
not surprising.
I mean, I hope he gets a bit more of a reaction because I like him. I like Brian Myers on the independent scene, but it's hard to see. I liked your idea last week of, just continuing this going on, kind of like Eva Marie. He'll win. Hopefully he gets some sort of reaction because I don't mind him.
But it'll be interesting because, I'm sure they'll get him a win here, but I can't see him being anything more than, maybe... Not the Jinder Mahal of SmackDown, maybe a bit above that. But, I can't see him being any more than... taking losses to the mid-card babyfaces. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It would be good to see Zack Ryder turn heel and Zack Ryder, Kurt Hawkins in a rivalry with Mojo Rawley and someone else, and then Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins rise up the tag team division. It's an idea.
Yeah. I mean, the Hype Bros aren't going to be going very far in the tag team division. I think we all know that. Anyway, we'll stay on that theme. We'll stay with the tag team championship match. Heath Slater and Rhino versus the Usos. Rematch from Backlash where Slater and Rhino won, but they essentially did it via shenanigans with Rhino spearing one of the Usos without, being the legal man. The Usos also had to wrestle 2 matches in one night. So, if I had to give a prediction here, I think the Usos are going to win clean and win the tag team titles.
I'd say so, because we haven't seen much of Heath Slater and Rhino.
No, we haven't.
Not enough over the last month. They made the save, obviously, with SmackDown. They made the save for American Alpha, but it was a good story, Slater and Rhino, to get there. I think I agree they'll lose. They'll get their rematch, and that's where you see Rhino turn heel, potentially. And then you put Heath Slater over that way. Heath Slater needs to be a tag team wrestler. That's the biggest issue here. I can't see him surviving as a single star.
No.
There might be that chance where he gets that push for the Intercontinental title as a feud to get him up that singles and cash in on what they've got at the moment. But it's just hard to see him flourishing without a tag team. So, unfortunately, it looks like, well, not unfortunately, but it looks like the Usos will win and we'll get that American Alpha Usos feud sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and that's the next logical step for Slater. I mean, he needs to break up with Rhino. Rhino needs to turn heel, get that out of the way. The Usos need to win the titles, move on to American Alpha, and yeah, I think that's the feud that'll carry us for the rest of the year. So I think that's the most obvious match on the card. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Slater and Rhino retain, but it's the right timing too for the Usos to win.
That'd be a good swerve.
Yeah, okay, we're going to move on to the next match now, the undercard women's feud. Nikki Bella versus Carmella. This has been building since, SummerSlam, I guess. So it's a long time in the making that they've been building this one up. It's good to see a non-title women's feud getting this much build. The story has been alright. I think they could have, fleshed it out a bit more and, put the emphasis on why Carmella is attacking Nikki Bella rather than spending most weeks just, having them brawl. If I had to give a prediction here, I'm going with Nikki Bella. I think they'll get her a win here just so it can continue on. I think if you give Carmella the win here, Carmella has beaten her at every turn. I think you give Nikki Bella the clean win here, and then we move on, from there, and Carmella can continue to go after her, because I think the Bliss-Becky thing continues for a while longer, so you keep this going for a bit as well.
That makes the most sense because of the fact that Carmella's pinned Nikki twice, or submitted, I agree that this is the feud, this is the secondary feud, and it's the one that has to keep going, and it makes sense for Nikki Bella to win this match. Yeah,
I think the other thing is, if you look at the card, we're going to be seeing a lot of the heels win, and usually when that happens, they usually, with a lower stakes match like this one, you probably assume the babyface in Nikki Bella will go over. Anyway, we'll move on to the pre-show match, which we forgot about. Jack Swagger versus Baron Corbin. Did Corbin screw Corbin, or did the ref screw Corbin on SmackDown?
The ref screwed Corbin. That was
I
don't know what they were trying to do there, because it doesn't really, at the start of a feud, that doesn't do much, especially for a Jack Swagger versus Baron Corbin feud. Yes.
Yeah, for those who missed it, what happened was Baron Corbin was in the ankle lock and was trying to reach out to the ropes, and he was sort of like scratching at the mat, trying to reach out for the ropes, and the ref assumed that he was tapping out rather than, just trying to get his balance so he could go for the ropes. So the ref called for the end of the match. Corbin kind of freaked out and, went on a rampage. He should have attacked the referee, or he should have attacked David Otunga.
Unless it wasn't part of the script. I mean...
No, it was, surely.
Are you sure?
Surely.
My only reason for that is that the ref quickly ran out of the ring and lifted Jack Swagger's hand, but almost ran away immediately like he had made a mistake. In terms of... Because it wasn't an obvious thing to happen. There's no real reason behind it. And you'd only do that for a face turn, really. To turn a heel into a face. You can't do a screw job on a heel.
I think they did it because they wanted to get another match at No Mercy. They wanted to get a match out of the way on SmackDown and wanted to get another one out of the way at No Mercy. And the only logical way this feud ends is with Baron Corbin winning clean.
You can't have a feud for 2 weeks, and that's what doesn't make sense for me. Jack Swagger's back on SmackDown. You have to let this run a bit more.
Do you, though?
I think so.
I think Swagger's just there to put Corbin over, just nice and quickly. No Mercy's coming up, get Corbin a win and move him on.
Where do you get Baron Corbin next? What does he do?
That's a good question. I don't really know. I think you'd have to hope for someone like Kalisto to come back. I mean, you don't have Ziggler anymore, obviously, so... Or probably. So, Corbin...
And they've feuded for 400 years.
Yeah, that is true. So, it is interesting that there isn't really a lack of mid-card babyfaces on SmackDown. So, this might continue, but I still think Corbin wins clean.
Oh, yeah, Corbin will win, definitely, yeah.
Okay, so the next match on the card is probably, I guess, I'm not sure if you would agree, but the most underwhelming one so far, which is Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt.
I didn't mind the promo yesterday, although it was a bit all over the place, and the fact that it was running throughout the whole SmackDown kind of made me lose a bit of interest.
And it's the second week in a row they've done that.
Yeah, and it was too random. If they had done it better, have 3 different segments, but link it in a bit better. Whereas they were just like stop, start, stop, start, stop, start. It didn't make any sense whatsoever. The most interesting thing is Sister Abigail. The bringing that in, and maybe I think this is a good feud for that to happen, because then it gives a little bit of uncertainty about the result.
Yeah,
because you might assume that Randy Orton will win the feud because of what happened with Lesnar, but having a little casting a little doubt over it, I think Bray Wyatt has to win this first one. I've changed from Orton a couple of weeks ago. I was saying Orton has to win, but I think Wyatt has to win this one only because he's been made to look like a bit of a fool.
Oh yeah,
recently, and this whole thing that happened on SmackDown this week, I think it just sets up well for a Bray Wyatt win at the moment. Then Orton can win the next one. But Wyatt, straight up, you?
I think Orton wins. I think Bray has to win, but I think Orton will win. And I guess on top of that, Eric Rowan is now out injured, and Luke Harper is going to Raw. So is that? I think we're not confirmed, but I think it's pretty solidified that he's going to Raw. Obviously, that's just dirt sheet speculation. So.
Yeah, my prediction of Eric Rowan being Sister Abigail is now. It's not an option now.
Though, right on that, I don't usually plug other things, but if you go to YouTube and look up Adam Blompier's booking of Sister Abigail.
Who? We don't talk about it.
Yes, we do, because that was a fantastic thing, and I told you to watch it because I won't spoil it right now. But if the WWE do go with what he said, I would not be mad, because that is perfect for him and perfect for someone else, and we'll get to...
All his booking is pretty good every time he does that stuff.
Not going to lie, it is. So, similar tune to that, if you know what I'm talking about here, the next match on the card is Becky Lynch taking on Alexa Bliss for the SmackDown Women's Championship. My favourite wrestler versus Dem's favourite wrestler.
Women's wrestler. My favourite women's wrestler. Okay. She's not my favourite overall.
Well,
unfortunately.
My favourite overall is Becky Lynch. So, who's going to win this one, Mr. Dem?
Your favourite is going to win.
Yeah.
Although I like how they've built up Alexa Bliss over the last couple of weeks, but anytime you see the challenger
get a clean win,
the SmackDown or the show before the pay-per-view, zero chance that she wins. Although she's building up nicely. She's a genuine contender. She's the second best woman in the division. I think that's quite obvious, and that she has a good future.
Completely agree. It's not the right time for Alexa Bliss to be the champion just yet. Becky retains. The loss won't hurt Bliss. Brian on Talking Smack put the challenge out to both of them to have a better match than Sasha and Charlotte, and that match was bloody great. So if they can do that, and they can do that, so I guess we'll have to wait and see what they can do there. Hopefully it continues on beyond that. I think Alexa Bliss can be a women's champion by WrestleMania if built up correctly. I just don't think, right now, Becky just needs to have a good run with the belt.
Yep.
Easy as that. Okay, so the next one is probably the best match on the card, and that is Dolph Ziggler versus The Miz for the Intercontinental Championship. If Dolph Ziggler loses, his career is over. And this isn't a John Cena Nexus career over appears on Raw the next week. This is, if Dolph Ziggler loses, he is going to leave. Obviously, there's been a lot of speculation as to whether he will leave. His Twitter, if you look at his Twitter over the last few days, he sent out a few things that sort of make you wonder, is he leaving? There's been a lot of, like Dave Meltzer and a lot have been saying that he is leaving. But again, you don't know until it happens, especially with something like this. He could pull a Mark Henry on us. So who knows? I still think The Miz is going to win. I still think one way or another, The Miz keeps the Intercontinental Championship. Whether Ziggler retires, I guess we'll find out.
I don't know if Ziggler will retire. I'm 50-50 on this. I tend to agree that The Miz will win, but there's going to be something. Something has to happen. It can't be clean. You can't cleanly get rid of Ziggler, I don't think. Because I don't think Ziggler's not going to retire. He's leaving WWE if he loses. That's not retiring. And he might go elsewhere or he might have a break. And he'll be back at some stage. At some stage in the future, he will be back. It's impossible for him not to come back.
Well, they have three options here. The first one is Ziggler wins, yay for Dolph. He wins the IC title. His career continues. I think that's the least likely of the three. Option two is Miz wins clean. You put Miz over, Ziggler leaves, and, Miz celebrates because he's already got the two, shenanigans wins over Ziggler.
Yeah.
So he gets the clean win, and you put Miz over. And the third one is you give him another shenanigans win. Dolph has to leave. Miz has all this heat on him for, cheating to win and ending Dolph's career. Yeah. So then you can have, like, Otunga and Brian discussing backstage, like, Ziggler has to leave for at least 3 to 6 months by contract of this match. You can't bring him back, because of the stipulation. And Brian is furious, and that can lead on, continuing on from there with Miz, Brian, and whoever else.
I think that's the most likely, and it would have been good. Ideally, Miz wins in that manner, and then Ziggler has to leave. I guess if Survivor Series is a little bit further away, then you could have Team Miz versus Team Brian, and Dolph Ziggler could be captain of Team Brian or something like that. But it's too soon. So it can't happen. But I think that he has to win shenanigans. I can't see him winning clean because Miz doesn't need to be put over. Doesn't need that for him for the boost because he's already up upper echelon.
Yeah.
Ziggler doesn't need to lose clean because that just hurts him more, even though he's leaving either way.
Yeah.
Leaving with air quotes. Yeah, I think Miz has to win by shenanigans.
Yeah, that's what I'm predicting will happen as well. I think Miz wins, keeps the IC title. Hopefully they can find a way to keep this hot feud between Brian and Miz going. I guess the only way really to do that in my mind is to bring in Sami Zayn or Neville. But I guess we'll have to wait and see until after No Mercy. It's probably the thing that'll be, the most anticipated part of SmackDown post No Mercy.
They've done well with the IC title, and it is extremely relevant and the most interesting part of anything right now.
It's amazing that they put so much good effort into Dolph Ziggler's potentially final feud. When his whole career was sort of, an afterthought. But his final feud has been fantastic. Anyway, we'll move on to the main event now. The WWE World Heavyweight Championship match. AJ Styles versus Dean Ambrose versus John Cena. What is happening?
So this is a bit boring, isn't it? Because we've agreed. There's 8 matches we've covered now, and all but one of them. And I know we agree on this. We're going to agree on this one.
Yeah.
AJ Styles will win, and it will lead up. I was telling you yesterday my thoughts, and you agreed with me that John Cena, Dean Ambrose have a feud afterwards.
Yep. And
this will result in, John Cena. I think Ambrose will turn heel on John Cena. I personally think that John Cena will put Ambrose over clean.
Okay.
As a heel turn, but that's a little bit in the future. Right now, we're talking AJ Styles, and AJ Styles will win because he's the best thing going. He's the best wrestler in the world. So,
AJ wins, pins Ambrose. I think that's how you do it here.
Yeah, you have to. You can't have him pinning Cena again.
Yep, I think that's easy as that, to be honest. I would like to see, as you were saying with Ambrose and Cena, I would like to see Ambrose team with the Usos and sort of make them sort of like a thug stable.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe down the line, obviously not right. You can't do that next week, but I think I think that's where this is all heading. So, you know...
An American Alpha and Cena would be interesting.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what it would lead to. And that would be the most American patriotic thing of all time. So if we agree on all of the title matches, so if we have our way...
There's only one match we disagreed with, and that was Orton Wyatt.
Which is very boring, but unfortunately, it's a pretty straightforward pay-per-view. You never know, they might do something and change it up. I don't think that'll be in any of the top matches like Styles, Ambrose, and Cena. So yeah, I guess if this all happens, what would you say is the thing that should kick off SmackDown the week after No Mercy?
AJ Styles. We have to find a contender for AJ Styles afterwards, and that's exactly what has to. He needs to come out gloating. He needs to come out, I'm the best, or I told you all I'd beat them, blah 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 blah, and then a contender has to emerge. Who that contender is the difficult part. It would be cool to see it be someone from NXT. Someone come up, only because if we're using Ambrose and Cena, and Orton and Wyatt are in a feud already, who's left over?
Corbin is like the only, and he can't do a heel versus heel with Corbin and Styles.
I mean, you could have Jack Gallagher make his debut and challenge AJ Styles. You could have James Ellsworth, if you saw Talking Smack yesterday. AJ Styles thought that he was a good...
you could get a week out of that.
Good option for him, but they need to build someone, they need to find someone, and AJ needs to kick off SmackDown the week after.
Agreed. So we'll leave it there for our No Mercy previews. Well, obviously, you can let us know on Twitter how we went at GloriousWP. You can follow me on Twitter at Nick Negropontus, and you don't have to worry about following him on Twitter.
Don't follow me. Dempy_9.
Don't steal Big E's thing.
No, don't follow.
Okay, we'll leave it there now. We'll be getting up later in the week our normal podcast with a full preview of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. We'll leave it there for today, so thank you for listening and goodbye.